Hello. Today I'm going to be talking about a topic I've heard other people kind of go back and forth about. The question or the topic is, does God speak to us? And this is something I've thought about a lot myself too. I've had had the question in certain ways. There, I guess there are a lot of different answers to that. It kind of depends on um, what kind of talking or speaking are you referring to? So so I guess there's well, short answer, yes, God does speak to people. I used to think that it was kind of like a fantasy for somebody to hear God. But I would hear people talk about, God told me this or God told me that, and I'd just be like, well, that's not really how God operates. But I think I understand more what people are saying when they say that. So so I'll try to break it down a little bit. So God can speak to us audibly, right? That's one part. There are there are multiple ways God could speak to us. I guess I'll say it like that. So I was reading a devotional from Joyce Meyer the other day, and she was saying that she had only heard God speak to her audibly 3 or 4 times in her life. Now, you know, I I don't want to go too much into um what it should or shouldn't be. Uh, I'm just gonna try to say that it probably is different for everybody when it comes to the audible stuff. God does speak audibly to us, um, but to answer another question with that. This question I've often had is like, can I have a conversation with God? You know, can I have a back and forth, like me and God sitting down, like me and another person, back and forth conversation? Is that possible? Um, I haven't seen it, and I don't know anybody that can audibly have a conversation with God. And and sorry, I'm trying to define conversation. Um, because you can talk back and forth with God. Like you may hear something audibly from God, and then you can say something to God, but it will never be a back and forth, like human to human conversation, if that makes sense. Like if me and you were sitting down right now, you may respond to me in this conversation. I'll respond back right back. It's never going to be like that. A conversation with God is more like, and I'm still going by the audible um, conversations I've had. He may say something to you, and then um, you may say something right back, but you may not hear from him on that subject or any other subject for a while. And I would agree with Joyce Meyer. It doesn't The audible stuff isn't as often as the other things God tends to speak through. And and that's what I was gonna kind of go into a little bit more too. Like, and this is all from my personal experience. But it may look different for you. It may look different for a lot of people. Well, I'll go into that more later. But God can also speak through like what people call open doors and closed doors. If you've ever heard of people saying, "Oh, God, open that door for me," um, you'll kind of, I guess I'd say it's more like a feeling, but it's still God. Like, um, some things will just feel like it almost makes no sense to go this well. Like, Like that's a God thing. But it can be the other end too. It won't make sense that things are going this bad. Uh, I mean, you can look at it more like that's Satan, but a lot of people call it like a closed door. It's kind of both, but anyway, that's a way God speaks to us. You know, if you're going to if you don't know whether you should, this is just an example that happened to me recently. Like if you don't know if you should buy a product online or something, and then you go and you put it in your cart, and you get a message saying, "Oh, well, this is um, I see that you put our product in your basket. We'd like to give it to you 50% off." That may be like an example of God opening a door. It may not be. It's not black and white, but um, that's kind of a simplified example. And then you know, on the other end, there will be things that you know, you'll just get one bad thing after the other. Sorry, I can't think of a good example right now. But you know, you may know it better when you run into it. You know, maybe you go to buy a car, and all of a sudden you thought you had enough in your account to buy the car, but something unexpected happens that surprises you when you get to the dealership. Um, you know, um, you find out that you know somebody took money from your account or something like that. Like that may be more of an example of like a closed door. Um, I tend to think of it more on the Satan end, but I know why people say it's kind of God is still kind of speaking in that way, like, no, don't get this car. And again, this is kind of oversimplified, but anyway, hoping to just get the point across. God can also speak through like silence sometimes. Like a lot of times I notice like if I get worked up, I guess the best example for me is like if I have a conflict with my husband, like I'll get my mind will just kind of get um anxious and I won't be able to think clearly anymore. But if I sit in silence and just kind of wait and let my mind relax, you'll kind of get these like um well, sometimes it's a feeling, but sometimes um it's like a thought, I guess. You'll get these thoughts like you know, uh maybe I should apologize or something like that. That's kind of how God can speak to you too. It doesn't it's not like it's not the same as God speaking to you. Um, like God can speak in your thoughts. That's kind of one way He speaks. But sometimes like He'll bring thoughts into your mind that you just wouldn't normally think of, but you already have experience with. Like like you know, kind of like I was saying, if I'm in a conflict, like I know to apologize. But like if I can't think about it, God will just refresh my memory. That that's probably the best way to describe that. When I really think about like God speaking through your thoughts, it's a little different. Like sometimes I'll be laying in bed in the morning and I'll have this question in my mind and I'll be like, well, why is this like this? Why is this like this? And and this thing will come into my mind that I just know I never would have thought of. Don't get me wrong, like it's still English, like the English language, which is comes from my experience, but it's um it's an idea that I never could have had. So um Sorry, I don't really have a good way to describe that. Um, anyway, I'm getting to my limit here on time. Trying to think if there was anything else with that. Actually, let me just do a part two on this because I had some other thoughts about it, and I don't want to go too long. So anyway, that's a good start. How God speaks to us. I'll try to continue on that in another video. Thank you for watching. Have a nice day.